pass ni into onye hu how omo movements native so movements here be clear manner he will be the best deep line playmaker for Chelsea or a very 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 good player, brilliant player. So far by the new team no the way the control game no digital passes to left and right is excellent, but omo nya creativity kakra. And for God's sake, please, and yes, striker no munya and yes, striker. Me say with the Erling Haaland but to Chelsea, I'll be struggle. But no, Timo Werner struggling. Lukaku be struggling. Lukaku Janeko. Most of the time you struggle until almost your team need kakra. Na creativity na, but we Chelsea baller. Chelsea right selling was that. Like compared to All City.
No,
he was okay. Oshe goes. No Shini goes. Or running from the no abeje no be but Chelsea ball no enko ne sama no to but Chelsea was why confused or copa no why disorganized what is just him selling elusive form to any little players are well elusive form but it's the way they play. And the reason I'm here so disappointed with Graham Potter is say Oshe Brighton do no baller. I was expecting say I can make a semblance of Sadino and Chelsea. Semblance say, sir, we are no attack play no. Most of Brighton no almost plans. We was on the match. We are no 7 on the ball. Trust and quite few grounds and sign. They are still playing very well because almost stretcher no. But about Chelsea no. As an Emma for no. This is stretcher now. Yeah, expected from him no. Am I? They are still playing without a stretcher. Boss, how can first strike we has be 20 more no. Or be ineffective.
Obviously, Mudryk will be good, but it looks like as also now creative.
Mudryk, who's in the last time by me defending, say yes, he said, I'm out at me. He's a very good player, but Mudryk is a player who works in the functioning team. Mudryk say, as an Obayanka, we can say a base seamless. That last week, one of our account, Chris says, to place a bass and also when you seamless transition.
Yeah,
trust that changes your noble. Don't you know she noble because the team is working. When the system is working, it's easy to fit in. When the pass are not joining well,
I say City or go for player, but no Kanji no,
because the team is working. When the team is not working, now Tuma, thing. Also, no more and I'm glad of the natural bench, more money pressure. Because that boy is a good player. Maybe the Kakram who shot Kadir, we not talking a good player. He's a good player, but we will take time because the team is not working. We take time.
Okay.
Let's appear foreign news.
On Chelsea. In terms of chances creation at Chelsea intimidation, Chelsea still create a lot of chances because data we Chelsea after the World Cup. After the World Cup, SG expected goals. Chelsea expected goals after the World Cup is supposed to be 14.53, which means that they've created chances. I think at Chelsea team is 15 goals, but from that possible 15 goals, our mark created almost Chelsea scored only 7.
And do you know why? The why is not SGO. That's because one way data be confused. They be aware. They play a bubble. No, you're flaccid. Flaccid say like as I'm like Bukola DAB. As I'm missing chances. Chances be torn man or be lucky the composure. To convert that as happy and quite relaxed. I was be 3 goals at was about 2.
Okay, because of confidence.
Ball is something you see. Don't you use data? What you see the players do. They lack composure. Obino look at Mukalo ni bobo. And then say but they hand in a do any more or pray. And I'll pray because there are reasons. We coach I work on those
fear of failure.
It's my lad base, my lad doing he gave the boy composure in front of the goal. They're able to slow the game down. I'll be a coach finish or not missed. Once you slow the game down, you see everything clearly. You want to go to the better one. On pray, we don't poker fish a goal. And say, I never be a main data. Me data a year for guidance, but all the data here arguments. Now, everything I flawed easily. Like we say assist. Big bit man pass go. Now have a man pass back or 2 be and then Panache go and say assist. Would the penalty boss on a ball go to G, Ekoto and you know she go and say assist. And he did the 2 at the same. Yes, and the 4 assists, big 2 assists, the big more big assists, no, or you born of big or 2 be named.
Defense splitting pass.
So, she born
assist what may say, man, be
a half assist, be a 5 assists. What are you saying? I'm telling you, Kobe.
I saw a argument to say, Saudi Arabia 5 goals here, cornerback. That's of a buffalo.
So, we lose 1-0.
I'm here for Abisao.
Night here for the Diomo year in effect. What should be now? Yeah, no more
opportunity to adapt it to
and then because then something also. And then we see you have crisis standing because right answer is now PSG now so PSG the minimum they feel say CAF Champions League government to me on Bubia PSG
this is all kasa
because players from here dey kakre do won nya dey don
PSG fundamentally PSG Oma miss the trick in team building,
which is
we don't make their growth for a long time.
Yeah,
me so cause me team
midfield.
Thank you. What's a PSG got a world class midfielder there? Cast your mind back.
Fabio Ruiz also Nadi.
Could be you cast your mind back to Makoto world class na Chelsea Akoto Enzo Fernandez.
I'm talking about variety.
Variety remember be 50%, but not you good, but not your world class.
Not your world class.
Cast your mind back. Ghana game no moto.
Ghana game Danilo Pereira. Fabio Ruiz. Vitina. Ampa.
The best front three. If your midfield is not working, they will not work. Once in a while, individual brilliance will be so born. But for the team to work, no, because when you have Messi, Neymar now OJ trophies. Well, now Messi, Neymar now Obo Messi. Nay, Yako Juventus, Rabiot, Numne, Ghana Gay, Numne, Danilo, Num. How? Nato Sanchez, no. Davey, that's not how you build a team. Obiweka just from the defense, which I agree. But the
defense is not bad. They have a world class goalkeeper.
I agree with goalkeeper. Defense, no. But
they also have good midfielder.
That's the whole essence of football. Ball, no, there you data, no. Your ball in now midfield, with the Chepak, with defensive third, middle third, and with the never data be after every man, never be a bono. Born in your both finishing on. Too many players who may do finishing on, you will struggle. It's a team of us, I say a ball cry and a partition penny you give number 4. Because I want your ball, I want our defense very strong, I want our attack very strong. Should Casemiro Manchester United?
Yeah.
One person for better match for the team in answer.
Yeah.
That is a honorable bone. Now PSG, all this is must be any millions.
PSG other Casemiro, other Gogo. Other come the captain.
Enzo Fernandez in the 2 World Cup.
Enzo.
With the Vitinha and the Kobo against Kimmich, Goretzka, Musiala. How is that possible? How? The bono, Ushabo na PSG control kakebe no molusu control na.
Na be you ba ko fe de nukwele. Brad PSG fa.
PSG dey do a project no. One footballers.
Akoko na kambe ba no sporting director e wan ya.
Campos.
Chairman had Kingsley Coman was their player. Oko for free. 2020 Champions League final no. Kingsley Coman scored the only goal against them. In the first leg, 1-0 no. So on the Sabeshe. Chama Choupo-Moting was their player. Also call for free. Di Maria and they could be useful was our team we than players and the free bench ban.
It is okay. Now at the man you who granted Di Maria. No more per Hakim Ziyech one tiana. Say almost 14 data so Yario again. No so per Hakim Ziyech.
And the players be Omojamo Mokono and they even Thiago Silva, I'm defense ni yedie. But bola Thiago Silva
you make it better.
Yeah, you remember make your team better. But they left Thiago Silva go. Now Mama Di Maria caught. Choupo-Moting went for free.
Nkuku no mina muko.
Chairman. Omojai. And look at even the signing of their coaches. I say almost signing coach bi omoko omochi. From Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel koya no prove him wrong say he was a better coach. O free honor obeji Champions League and match Chelsea. I'm going to find Christophe Galtier, chairman. Just look at Thomas Tuchel and Christophe Galtier. So what I also keep Thomas Tuchel there. Then it should be an upgrade. It no me Messi money.
No, but me who say this to make argument say the front three no so more because the theater that as a name and him come back in Messi go on function well. On me no talk but others never board defending. But on a doctor's answer say if you have world class and here Real Madrid, Real Madrid can't have a break, Andy. And Real Madrid free on. Real Madrid struggle you. They got to a point in time. Real Madrid great teams in the teams at the six, 19 as a 3. It talks about midfield. Look at Chelsea. When Chelsea were Chelsea, Chelsea midfield. Now a too much.
Na midfield in the corner and our attacker, energetic, strong, meeting pressing from the front.
Because
Messi will not run.
Messi
will not run.
Messi will not run. Maintenance when you Mbappe, excuse me.
Mbappe run.
Excuse me, no. God Messi not run. I also not run.
Or also on a board at trap park.
No, PSG, they're very sad.
But PSG, said they can project no money because the City when they decided to bring Guardiola. What's this name? Don't buy the sporting director.
Chigi
Begristain. Because they want two people who have what same understanding of football to work together. Bayern Munich is Bayern Munich today because of Oliver Kahn.
Yes.
Kahn is Romanian Goli Hoynes room. Because no more focus with Jomu Pobia. Overcome also gain to some. And it's having a German player or come be on Nadia. Bayern go find back on Kwano. Because they don't kind. When the team is functioning. Na so ka se Barcelona team ya na Messi Javi name wouldn't go share say mebo
yeah how they want me
Messi mebo because the team is in such a way that you are surrounded by world class players no me piama no Bobby Alexander Hleb who a team or Bobo San on me fan
and songs
so when the team is functioning different but PSG there with this team CAF Champions League going to wedding because I'm telling you etiquette anyone that's what team says Sundowns etiquette anyone for no me Emirates anyone
but on bench is surprising
on bench
the bench
PSG bench
was unbelievable
PSG bench what talk about Bayern o bench
no why I mean anything I should have followed one on bench is so depleted
I understand how football is different from you I said this no someone says that no me ade surface na the games Kaja go for be nyade abrofo no mo ye no mo di na ede e no mbo big teams ba bebre nyeku
bench na nya kra
no what the cat
PSG team o go kan ba bi na ka o kan say bia Kudus bet ya body perfectly Ghana fo ba say oh dien e no Ghana ni ti so mpese ye oni bokwa za kwa no Morocco brown World Cup nyina o mo match also come win semi finals yet ni ku hom and so PSG for so mo pese ye oh Di Maria amane ko also pese also mo pump technical director no a pump coach no now mo yes serious revamping of the team na man yi man ya bokakra Messi man no omre ni nkase o the best 6 months you know baby because they say Messi kra no say come build the team no year Messi say the City for team be to over function
but see who Messi at the World Cup
function very good
function
so you miss for the man what you say
Master Kroba obey adwuma pa
but the ekon there hard PSG team no dey nyame me ko ni nyewu
so front three and win new games they struggle to find or bit maybe winning games more because they rely so much on them
okay and the FNC matches in the door so now Italy at the biggest match Napoli Atalanta get the game to work because and go very good choma name I am man ko World Cup Nigeria Victor Osimhen adin molanzo this side versus this side now obi enya chance about the kale you can Scalia was there Sakwano udi hwe no was a player
now why your midfield no
midfield no see solid nya
no Stanislav
Lobotka Anguize obey you went to
that's the point it's no coach no plot this kakra but the way on a Poland boy Zelensky Lobotka any Zamba visa bono it's beautiful to watch.
Well, and then yacha wa mo no referee big yatrasi big yaman you okan so for no
let me ask a little good man you hey dem no tente as a obi a wasu kakra
well Pago do me that say ba thanks so much young ni me na yemra doc and yen twintwen so kra Kotoko Hearts empty stadium. What is going on? You must see affiliate stadium. No more say Simbibre never found one Sunday about Black Stars. Any on some no crowd. Say you do lovely in Kotoko has a bonny empty stadium there. Nature say anyway we say about the situation is critical. What do we have to do? Then you're in the wrong. What is because my own sense who commentaries no minimum guide better to Nane Amponsa ever can be Nane Amponsa can about the sun Wadarma Ayana Oko platforms will be winning in Afabra. Mause Emmanuel da Suberi in Subekai. You would not take no Sabekasa. Or don't say our football is not fit for purpose. Or say the purpose of football is to entertain. But that's not what our football is doing. We're talking about right structures, publicizing our game. Teams na kasa about $1 million. Bet power for say you respond with 2 million. Buy 1 million. We have 1 million can also the great promotion. Almost say fin ya tell say near sign no more. What's important I say? I know so no promotion. Promotion you be. I'm branded a year no my. I say I bet you well okay about. Nani Aponsa say Emrana Kent here administrative manager for Galkano. Omo ye seminar be on how Nanipama Stadium. How to get people how to 2009. And he had to get people back to the stadium. And I bet you those ideas no hold on from issue. And I bet you those ideas won't cost 1 million to implement. And I emphasize on the 1 million. And 1 million no, then it's how $1 million now. It was in 2009, 14 years ago. Galka, in collaboration with PLB and GFE, held a seminar at the Accra Stadium to ascertain why people were not attending league games. I was invited by then Galka administrative manager, Mr. Keto Kweku, as guest speaker. Well, I don't know, can I say ideas? No, that's what I hope. I'm a focus.
And Mr. Tiff, we know let's say I don't know. I'm gonna do better than
People have simply lost confidence in the league. Stop blaming the two teams for your incompetence. Uphold the sanctity and integrity of the league. Make the league highly competitive and attractive, and use the 1 million well.
We don't remember how, but to start a discussion if free here. No, what started with Finfi. Two times we have discussion. We manage structure.
Yeah.
So starting from the Tonwa build. So you ask yourself, then the man Nipa Eco Stadium in USC baby. And we your bike.
Of course, they say young fire doing TV honor we go lose a month for it or the men or they can.
We lose who beating me. Christian so coffee beating me.
That cars.
I won't bite. I won't bite. Yemra Ghana. Biggie. Who did the say? I'm for share ball. Come on, supposed to intensity be Ghana. Who did the Indra? Yes, small size. The Indra.
Kumasi Sports Stadium.
Me ask me, but I agree with that statement. Who did the Indra? Say Nipa share ball. Oh, come on, supposed to chamber be Ghana.
Location no.
There.
One of them.
Big income me had there.
I mean, we have remember location them.
Aha. On the guy.
Kumasi loves football.
Why? Most everyone they don't play football.
Because of successes I got to go the more.
Yes, into football no. A team Krona o area no. Because that's me cut to one man Ghana Akora and Nasa Bisu. Who is it in the Manchester Real Madrid Champions League? Omo so confident.
Because of Jomaye record.
Stefano no.
So yeah.
Omo mo jeto aso 5 no.
Yeah.
To unze na uko Real Madrid their biggest icon. So Stefano.
Yeah.
Ronaldo has more goals than him. Ronaldo has more, but he's still because the oyeni kaneno ona de bia or set president to on build this foundation ni mamu to mama banoma beto aso na de din pa ne de oyeni kaneno so Ghana say Nisi Kapani ni boy na omo start my 63 65 68 70 then come for prepare ball Kofi yeti haji akotoko ye ball first league of Ghana has Nigeria nye kotoko Nigeria but kotoko ko Africa no kotoko say mo jeli omko Africa no within from 67 no to by 1973 no man ko final thing. That's all back here.
That's what I say.
73, 71, 70, 67. No more finals 4. No more Jimu 1.
Yeah.
But almost the Kotoko Africa, Edge Africa, Cross has first Africa, you call in 72. Into more Buddhist culture of Kumasi for Asia African Cup. Teams like a Free Africa ever. So any mark was for per bobo. Cause otia na Ismail aba, otia a yango betaba, otia weaba, otia weaba. And the team that was facing them was one of the best teams in Africa. TNG. Yes, I know say Kotoko African Cup, o kwa guta ogari. I don't ready.
Is that one also prepare because go trust stadium mentally is a lifestyle.
One of the things I mean say a year big me so me one of you Accra. Accra Stadium attendance was different. First time I go Accra Stadium, now me say Kumasi could do over 10 empty stadium. Accra was those days then the Poko Stadium.
Okay, so we Kumasi no by 10 now I am. To go Accra so contem.
Obi Accra ni ho. Accra was a Nipa Satiba from 1. And there's a reason for it. Because that culture of Kumasi among for free Accra be ball no, na bi ni Accra.
Yeah.
Cakas was typically no. Sooner than if you not catch one in Antiba. Obian is any pan contem. By 1 econ, no, I am by 3 I am. But Kumasi, it didn't be that overnight.
Yes, there be a.
And to Unima, now Trefi, or to Kumasi, no Bacono Honema.
That's the right my hair.
To Cokuta Gary. Natina Christian can be about so good. I town my own sorry. From 10, what was I about 3 o'clock? That culture na kotoko team kotoko de ma Kumasi for na Kumasi for pay ball. And 1978 say the news here. Also the season before 78 maybe a scoreboard news you know. On sa level no.
Yeah.
Stand there call around the state so okay me expanding. Na nya bigger. Inti ubusami that time because na issue sisa na enye many writer can yes had because writers on you listen because nipa 80,000 to Kumasi Sports Stadium no but me na me gidi ko fi ma me ko she nipa ni mu da na nipa no pepe so nti be bia na nipa fe nipa ba ko no na nipa me lose my tran o nti no na ridi ma nti eno sa de na nipa he bo Kumasi nti na ABC baba ya no for country na mu because so yenyen be a 60,000 capacity Kofi, ye 60,000 kesi ye ni ewu. Ulisa.
We got 40 Ghana.
No 40 Ghana, 48 million. That's 60,000 capacity. Into our football has been declining. Now the Mekanyani said they jam call back to Kotokwani the Omar Kumasi the paper one here. Football no say be on for be account make obi ideas baby. Entertainment. Who team. Oko no entertaining. Next time when you bet Okwa Tamoba, not Nico, Okwa Wabia for a girl, Nico, na stadium ko. But we are near Sabano. They do baby, I say, you must see comfortable kakra. The first near qua, won't mean you so near and that's all count me so near comfortable. It is every effort of your members and also in hours. How do we make this place comfortable for people? Washroom say, hey. Very first class washrooms, like hotel or washroom hotel. So the whole idea was that Yemeni Panko Stadium. But somehow no, any member factors one by one. I don't see. When you go to know don't come over a gradual process, step by step. Yashin the deans, I need to hire Naba. abedu level me hu President Kappa me tuana me usumiti interfere co factors no could mess at the very very top aban could you be say aban role in football aban bia ye do see akonya so could people want development anything for break to aban bia ye say inyam mpuntu ewe abrabom
ewusu ya ha ifiri ha akodu ha
mpuntu na nipenya into wo aban no oba o hwe all the various sectors no wa hwe baby of we say o don saka ne ya na do attention ko a edi mpuntu obeba ntem ozimazin bakofi I believe say since yenya nkroma yenya a champion President Bibi who sports a tool for development. How am I saying this? Her budget education sports ministry totally woeful. Ye ninya akujina pako
Black Stars
because ye entiase development is okay. Obi able to developer oba no access to some. These are my resources. Me wo gold. No oil, no cocoa, no way. How do I maximize this benefit? Animal me way. Emanipa me amam for no enya hoto. Eno ani gum down so.
Yeah.
And so my mo e man ba ko a sa this simple way yenti ase da. Ma dwen ho agovi. Christian mama me small test bi. Obo say we develop my anything euros.
Mama for movement are so easy.
And so ultimately I'm out then
productivity because
yes. But only so my road construction and developmental too. What do you make it? Yeah, on my be a fashion near president bar. No money president Joe. President Yakwai, be a man, we pacho. Nikwa say o man in the president say be me kwa mama. The leader no must know say rules no say na kids dey can correctly no. E tools for development.
Dr. Mincha wanu na saying atonsu kwa no maye. Unsa first pa u free brewery ekusi high school junction na. Chama obitime di be 2 hours especially peak time. Omoye kwa ni wie no. Chairman obitime di less than 2 minutes from brewery to high school junction.
But I know no Christian. We say you want to say eswati, but you obi an just calculate the economic value.
Value, yeah.
Say it's 1 hour.
Instead of people going to work
1 hour, we did 2 minutes. Do you know fuel am save? It's 100 cars, 1,000 cars a year. Only misika we save in the economy. Yes. It's no because between transams yentia say kofi. Mama example me kakra wa ubeba wonu. So for line interchange. Traffic was over line.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we interchange and I think a free space. Because the development has seen it. Yes, so for interchange ni vie. Ekwana eko efa penny mako so ebosu nyane kwano. Unim say yes interchange fe gwesi millions no. Contractor ka do ni nyansa do baby na office congestion baba on. Oye 5 lanes. 5 lanes oh.
Yeah.
But yen development as into ya na to sike go ninti no. Ye 5 lanes no. Ni atra ya hwe na drivers are parking 1 2 3 4 lanes.
4 lanes.
Na kwanasi. And you spending millions of dollars is interchange no. Now we na simple traffic management to me nyama cars into me nko. Governor yakwa na e buy.
Na the entire interchange no.
Means we don't understand development. Because but we don't we don't understand because so spending millions of dollars in interchange. Now to manage cars no be contem. Make one is Santa from Vanchemo in Yamba some TV say honey double road. We do Santa market area one man artificial traffic na church of park here na kwana blocking. Now if utminya traffic na be do bukware anymore no utmi do over 1 hour. Only economic cost to the country. 1 hour cast the dim sana. We say was not please for apakemo track or some watching of my year found. they don't even understand say or says akwan no omutimi clear na cast ne contem
dog I just dog okay bia omo mbeti ase pa no ya nyina eti ase but omo mo amono ne no me hu ade ba kwa me realize here Virginia and other states omo ade be fan HOV lanes, high occupancy vehicles and the faso enti eno no the essence ne say yen for nyina ye kwa adwuma yen na eba adwuma ha yen nyina eti tech side ho Christian wo atonsu bigi wo ebia abuadi dog ebia wo ejeso memeti maxima ejana na munyina mo maxima mo pack mo cars ne use one car ever made adwuma it is a more than 3 or more that you can over to for lane no HOV lane abi dako speed and on am so no traffic and I'm say why important to free traffic
development one TSA I know that I make education as one because I don't make comedy because politics I coffee because my policy to be but me politicians me be there me the main sports here. Into the government must realize say a football talent no one Christian ask yourselves how then West Africa kakake biggie the timasi mami West Africa kakake na Ghana kro kitikiti e West Ghana na by 1978 ne yankwan ne agi nations cup West Africa talent nya adoma chedia why in a small country Mali no makese Nigeria kese
no Nigeria for ntiase
why mean say nyamema talent bi
not even to support that na say omo the survey bi by ya countries transfer football talent ba
I mean but hona me ko na me step hona ka me thank you so ko share economic benefits of Brazil and Argentina do munya free football obeba wonum o anya wonti economic development as you because ka kra nya free kokoo mu ka no be na Brazil ponya more free footballers. And so they export every year so many of them. Omo league grand collapse. Remember when one say players na ekon league collapse. No, aka Brazilian league collapse. Brazilian players oyo Kofi Ghana you two half.
David.
Inti sa value now say ability means a way a economic tool for development. If I do this well, because you the players don't know the way affecting families, you know, a direct improvement in the economy. It's a direct cash economy. Boy be or tibia fumesu bi no oya no kopia bochi no did pounds can never serve a farm be negotiation for Ghana.
Yeah.
So money gets transferred right from Europe into our economy straight. Apart from the ton players near teams near the Belgian families in Ankasa or the economic development by families no. So we are buying also we recognize this hard way. Now we pay proper attention to sports or football. So a tool you can use it to develop your country. A tool for development. And don't pick any source minister beyond control. And my any token appointees.
In the bar, where the party
you don't do that. A tool, yeah, man, with it. But my maybe my dog will na Esa,
it will be my job. Nanka support to Dr.
Christian, Jenny say, I know how people. Why? Aha. Or they died in the but dog really presentation in
no, but whoever gets to be appointed Minister of Sports. If you could because Ghana I do my say appointments no ye did grow. You have to say a movie appointment. I'm for Bussy, you're any minister, you're any CEO, you're anyway. I may join government say how can appointments to be a Kofi Maba, my president minimum? Once you could be minister for trade, how is that an achievement for you? Tell me, how is that an achievement? Why should an appointment? It is what you do in the office, na achievement.
Yeah.
Ghana, we said we anchor your man. What you do with the appointment? Yeah, you appointed to you. We don't know such a way appointed. But so, now this power in the 2 minutes on same. Every year you map. So no be a damn bundy be a barrier. Maybe you make a crave for a shepherd country. Papa we are different.
Yeah.
Get more interaction with the man. Ni vision, na kasa na dream or a different person. What you know once in film with us all Korea can see them. But you see how many times your body ding, your money ding. to sports minister. Question was once about me sports minister. Abayin were enemy of so the Buama my tumpon. Then I met me as a sports minister from the sports ministry. Abua.
Yeah.
It's on our basic with your blaster. So I know some may come down. Yes, sir. No one in the way. Team you, your sports minister. First, I joined sports ministry. Football, shall I say? My the football, countries like Brazil, Argentina, countries be brave. Then I met me, I am bomb my buying. No football, no, I generate sika. I'm a buying a bandia, so my name, and young watering. As would the plus as a China Qatar. Now, my management members, $100,000. Are you crazy? How can you approve this? Now, siphon, Sikana. You know, she be about Sika, Blaster Sika. And make us some way. Say FIFA, you call up na FIFA the scanner mine because of players in team. Yama players. FIFA, say scan a development tool, a developmental money.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mawa, the omukacho only say, Waba Blast, Waba World Cup way. Jiska way, Kobaba way, send a next and work with
Saba. Yeah.
So when you answer, none of kacho.
Yeah.
Say,
Farmer,
Debbie, Jiko design. Wapa, I made you World Cup and say, oh, I do it, there will be out from a man, so me players and your exposure. The work your my appearance fee, Wapa. Casa, Nyasa, watching and says, Escaway, G, Nako Bobo. Now 4 years' time, with being your players, we are fit enough. And they will qualify, but we are fit enough to be at the World Cup. What you have qualifiers, now qualify now about World Cup, maybe. Near the mouth, now, Ubechescani dear. Coffee. We are Penyaga before saying. Sanseni. Go again, Sanseni. Chew the money back.
Be wise, no. It will not be good for radio.
Yes, and before they can coffee.
The kind of Koshini
into one
and answer Penny.
Into sports ministry. We are sports minister. We were a parliament, a film saying committee on sports.
A parliamentary select committee.
Enemy can be back at your monument here. Why do you know my own priority? Then I met me, I am a sports according to the economy. Sports will not be a drain on the economy.
Yeah.
In countries like Brazil and Argentina, and you drain on the economy. It contributes a lot to the economy. And the reason Ghana make us as a Ghana, you are the talent. And then we can benefit a lot from football into our economy. Next one I here for.
Effie.
There be NSA.
NSA, yeah, okay. Self-government ministry, NSA, yes. Okay.
NSA, my people.
National Sports Authority.
We know we are Juma, be 2 years. And 2 years to can do it. Could be some more limitations, baby. Sometimes, okay, I be brave. Why are now overboard? Because of the structure, a woman in Tino, like Ujitiska, Kumasi, as if I cry, young Conco, Munia family. Sometimes also, Ocho Masia, with me analyst. But my issue with them, they say, they don't take the front line in sports development. Because basically, they say, about infrastructure, no manage infrastructure, near the boy. We actually say, easy. NSA input to me saying
0.
And then I mean, it's a mini castle on by actual test by 3, say, and yet 100. And your numbers so. And your numbers so. A strategic planner who uses an man to achieve. So, we see as we see Bantama, me keep it also. What you see the aim of building the administrative. Yeah, you administrative, Neswa. What is the aim of building the administrative? Also, administrative no integrated to your overall sport developmental plan. Also, what plan you would team? We are never make you. Administrative is easy. Move. Sometimes you give me a feeling. We say, "You see, the cat MPB so we see when you see the cake."
Yeah.
Plan me answer them.
It's more ball.
Tama England for it say 3G test. No countries like Iceland, Belgium, come and him Abanika says on our baby. Or the bomb my 3G what did they do? Omu lazy with the FA. Omu finish. Omu strategic plan areas. Yeah, bobo like infinite bobo pa. Two so Kumasi. Kofi about 100 also would Kumasi ache. Church and baby Kumasi is here shooted by being maximum benefit. Eh, Papa Nakano face. Miss Bobo baby, I'll be 100%.
Baby, I'm a big channel. 100%.
The associates, first associate Kumasi 1 year now, and Kobe Pijaunsa.
But the Bobo.
Eh, Kabako. When you watch my order.
Asim.
Adum. Yeah.
Asim.
Yeah, so to be Kumasi,
David.
I didn't.
Sir, maybe go there.
A traditional catchment area.
Asim, Abuabo, Ashtown. Sa Bremain, maybe your baby want to say, players. First, near the Nantina going balls are areas no. Many only say you sent out and we had to go.
Remember, as I'm a major be film, but after the no cry and no crown. Yet me and competing to a strategic planner. Oh, book myself was okay. I should tell the sea as a metiasi.
Okay.
And as it's very see, I can't boy metiasi, and it is a baby at the Biacosi. Well, this is what will be accredited on their usage.
Baby.
Oh, even when we are trying to do the right thing, Kofi, ye. Into disorganized. If you cry any room, or be any room, me in this. Yet the name is politics. I need a answer, Mr. Macan arrow. Hannah decided to go see me. My next one info.
FA.
Ghana Football Association. Ghana Football Association. Because I told you Ghana.
Ghana
Football and Association. FA no. Any Macan, all the much made a short. My FA no. Number one, I'm now convinced. First, I'm going to say, I saw Munim and now Marcelo Human Free. They don't know their core mandates. Omunim, I think so Munima and then my confused kakra. Because me FA president in the speeches the last few days he tried to defend league in the main. Kovuti ni kasana. Listen, ajumana onwa no. Meeting me on TSA because when the manifesto now they buy now. Okay, I'm going to create a culture of stadium going. What do you understand by that, Kofi? That culture, and then we call stadium at the age of 6 years. And we call stadium measure in this cup at the age of 10 years. I'm a stadium, yet it must stadium first. I'm a toss, I'm a punch, I'm a to one ideas and I'm a free. That's a culture. I didn't call stadium, I'm a free habit in there. That culture, and I want Arsenal for no man. Kofi said the one in UK.
Yeah.
Only Arsenal for a season ticket. Because the only motive some go man, only season ticket is Arsenal. Me so with my to catch up on my landing. So be hotel landing here. Season ticket. I'm telling you, with my to some two Peugeot 2 for catch to be out the coach on one landing.
People are willing to buy.
And not because of me are rich.
They love the game.
It's a culture. In the because more TV as I'm human. She obi a culture of stadium going. With the TV 18 TVs in the car on them air condition or stadium. Because TV can never come even halfway close to stadium. Say to me, she go a big me big a bit my bam biggie to me near to me bam the minimum over here. Say the general cast of show them your TV so when you will never get it until be because I say on no new football stadium going culture no need be. I can make 19% again be saying kwa crash with Jemmy Kohebo. Tikovi FND me say they can't look beyond their individual interest. And then yapa about the FNO. Because those who are protecting what they have. Those who are protecting what they have. Now, FA what almost 4 years. Now, we need anything to show. You don't have anything on in practical terms to show for what you've done the last 4 years. Now you are talking about a third term. Does this make sense to you? By all the metrics they be used to measure or achievement, never form. Nations Cup me son be say a bona fide property ye general easy keke no. We went to Cameroon. What our worst performance ever at the Nations Cup.
Yeah.
ABC that since Ghana called first time in 63 been there. This was our worst performance. Now we are FA president, you are comfortable enough to think say and all this I'm good enough to think of a third team. Your league is continuing to go down. So since now your league champions squad Africa first round they can't be enter group stage anymore. Can you see how far we have dropped? We can't even go to the group stage. Country 2008 has semi-couple Africa. Yeah, we didn't even lose a single game. By 2005, yeah, 2 clubs were playing the first Confederations Cup final in Africa. Hassan Kotoko. You call Africa, you mean go past the first you qualify in the ground. You don't think this is a worry. And come on, what do you say? Blaster Bibimbra, Yanko Yendi Blaster, Chinyanko appearance fee of $100,000. Lose some focus big time. So we catch them, we can some focus on well to develop Ghana football. And can they stare me in the face and look at me in the face and tell me say the last 3 or 4 years Ghana football kwani mana akwachi. Ain't po bina wiba.
Clubs.
The clubs. Oh, ko bina no me follow ba. None of my show the clubs.
Clubs.
Makai for the na no. No about clubs in this one.
Kotoko Hearts, especially.
Clubs no. Makoko assembly. Tell me Kotoko Ghana me has for both the daughter Dokas on Makoko for fans. But me only me credit and credit about copy.
Yeah.
And now we are no more we're doing right. When my neighbor come home and call like Mr. Tepers, my neighbor come and need you has home. I mean, I don't my no more on a more Continental Club Masters first, so no more teachers, you are no more supporters nation. Chapter be on a more chapters first too. That was around 78. We will chat as circles.
Okay.
A chapter be I adopt to play about. The BS chapter 9 on play out of former no more teacher at the former picture boom. Mature chapters across chapter 9 on the Continental Club Masters and they will be at the Continental Club Masters. Those Sunday farm bees are not class no a generator mom. Movie Tamana has for you tokono. I really wanted to be Namiliga. I wanted to be an input on Sardino. There is no club agency without supporters. So me sure be said to be in there as make a chance to be. You can never fight your club supporters. You will never win. Yeah. You are a good man who have good intentions. But the moment you start fighting your supporters, you will lose. With Messi, a year I will sign toss 200 or more. They will never be happy with you. Then the supporters for you. Supporters more love from Omomudumani.
Yeah.
They're not asking for you, Bruce. Why are you support psychology? And here we are approachable to them. This is the year about Herbert today. Herbert, for we be away, that thing, the man 100%. He understood the psychology of supporters. Yeah. Obaka are the greatest in the world. What can I say? I can't do it, bro. But he touches the supporters one by one.
The next match, stadium is full.
The supporters don't me. Only they're no fools. Obviously, has a 4-0. No, it's a stadium. He's a fool. But he believes in the leader. Say, leader, we or respecting me. Or Jamie, when you say team near media, go team be no supporters here. Yeah. I'm telling you, and I'm into football. I say, you know, you guys say black and penas, and they say black kasa fans. About say they never Facebook, but they know you want fans. Fans. So how the
fans know what you know.
It's okay. That and trust the band. When you see multiple people say we try, we can do it. Also the fans should feel closer to the pitch. Not junior fans. Because football is about fans. Team be so crowd to our team. Your fancy there. Yeah. How much more treasure club and I look at them what's happening?
Nancy clubs or more European Nations League supporters before you. They had to come and beg them. Honest, no, yes. They were virtually begging the fans.
What's a football club? It's for the fans. I mean, I let you to ball. I see. And to me, it's a debate of traditional clubs versus Tonaton clubs. No? unse me obi am pesa idea ne da. They because me blame liberty. Sa ton issue no.
Yeah.
There, but the way I name economy, we can have a blend. Maybe take 80% traditional class, that means be 20% I can be a nice blend, but we need more traditional clubs. We need clubs that are more footing in the community. I'm not going to say grab a hand because my coach local community engagement. It was a fine point. You know, it was fine, a fine contribution. Why Arsenal? You see them going to schools. So schools, they engage the community because every club is community based. It's as to doing Brekum. One of your catches is non san panic or Brekum Chelsea, dear. Miss Norma, Miss Norma. Chelsea, an area in London.
I know, minimum.
Until one the area about good area about Cobesoso.
When I said any Kintampo Cairo David, said,
Brekum area, Chelsea area. Then one time I say, said I'm more to area house in church. Let's just be any Brekum on.
Okay. That's I'm of one of the son. Brekum Arsenal.
Brekum sounds in the area. Kotoko, I tell you, I come at their peak near Kotoko, Congo. Kotoko, Congo, above first division friend Kotoko, near Kotoko, Guinea. Into we are big enough. We are team, baby. Science, second Tampo, Zamalinkin Tampo, Elali, but Chelsea the area. Area.
Okay.
As we say, what two team defend Kumasi London. What is it? And they up.
Okay.
We are penasing, but me actually mean why am I penasing?
Yeah, very good guy. Yeah.
It didn't on try and on said, you know. And we are club leader. Tonight, upon sir, I don't know because of call everything in the agenda. Sadly, I don't know why I need to obey. Engagement, no.
Honestly, I don't know.
As for the meet me, I say because the corner there, Benukrano took Beno opinion. You make us as one opinion. He should find a way to bring the supporters back to him. One yes, sir. Be no by with Messi, Pobimanka, with maybe be a Bano Emma. Ask us why am I?
No.
We must support
fans now.
Fans.
Football
team.
Fans.
Supporters no.
I'm constant. They are always constant.
CEOs will come and go. Owners can come and go.
Players will come and go. Coaches will come and go. Fans will remain.
Team. Are you supporters no?
Yeah.
One is that we say no to ball. I said that. Are you supporters no? To be a baby, I was supporters near high on your list. Also, Chomo Ben, and no kind of do it may influence over no take the right decisions for the because almost my commas, my prayer, my say, do never learn to mean commas and beam because Sepeni Bebua, as in also better to Nema.
But almost a penny bua and also
meaning perhaps medical can and hear me the medical
because imagine say it is chapter 9. Yes, it took back for the Bishia has book fans who come as in chapter 9. I'm not sure say any house fan will decide not to go. Omba kutia so maybe a question near or appeal to them ombeko. But when a board member will come openly on radio to say that I want to need somebody to be a Jana po baby tonight. Obe Japan baby atna. Oh,
that statement no. It means in the back on table as Govi. If you make that statement that it means you don't understand the game you follow all your life. But when you see because every team, I'm saying it again and again, belongs to the supporters.
Yes. All
over the world. And Ghana, team being supporters here. In that Germany, only more shares than the supporters.
The supporters, yeah.
Team behind supporters here. Because without the supporters, there is no team. And now, stadium, and I go any penny to my bone. Yeah. I know they're fundamental. But supporters now, because I'm almost from to my pen, now will be the no one also the Amasham, Melimo Batama, even the needed a gloriation. Want to me make a cry. Could be supporters now too disorganized. I mean, me, declining. Could be circus about 2 color, and then the circus only. Sure. Ask yourselves, that circus are in the circus only.
don't think well, tell me I'm so there. Celebrate, dog, if you those days, 90s now. Maybe a lot of young men, maybe yeah, I relate here. Messi uncle even Herbert days. It's the minimum say, oh, I have it a fro. Oh, I have it a fro. Kotoko, match, ever the Kotoko, bobo, Kahasi ko baby, and never the Kotoko nequa. So Herbert Nanny Kuma Untiminia, Herbert Oberman and Crawford. So also had there Saturday, supporters group or more baby any. Supporters group or more area like baby any Kronko on channel. Or Mama organizing rally. We now move na Herbert Abisham. No name of Casavia Sansom say, I had ever born here, it will be home. You have a Bobby Meniska, but Team Nankaso Kumase and our supporting team at least. We making sure say every home game with the 2 buses, Crabeba. So the car have the days. Buses are never back. We talk about the flag of say, oh, Kintampo, ABA, Mamponte, supporters. Na noble now, I say, oh, Ultras, and government may be almost, but Kotoko Ultras, maybe 3 Etibana and him, say Ultras and social media, Facebook, WhatsApp group. Ultra, no WhatsApp group. Keko. A Honanka, but Sunday, one way or the other, everyone is sharing in the but Kotoko has and also doing enough. They say, Doc, they say social media no use. Has the Kotoko release it press release. I don't know. Social media so now than Johnny Bong, Rago Kabi. I don't know more followers many only the editor about social media following. Tell me follow Kotoko. Follow Kotoko. Of course, that's me follow Kotoko. Yeah, what I mean follow Kotoko. Yeah. If follow Kotoko, follow Oli can follow Oli. Also, Oli on an head. I do a heavy bar. Yeah. Or funny name, whatever to best. It's fun. But who went to say, just me has me Kotokoriana Miolini. Yes. Into the numbers no, and your numbers no. So media following, Kopo baby follow for information. Some me follow us now, follow Manchester, follow Liverpool, and me support Liverpool. You follow how can they very receptive? And social media for no, I do it in the KD. Nipa a cost stadium be brain. Going. Omni social media for. Social media for them, don't go last time big crowd TV so. One of Kotoko matches, Obigacho. But you know, me, not to begin at any every Casasano. Beginum never call VIP for the social media for. Now, I mean, coffee or mugu, red, yellow, green, or the social media thing. And a typical Kotoko support of Bus Stadium. No, social media person, no, it may be or to be on the magazine in a year, Juma. When you are Sunday, Mamma was can go trans stadium. Now, the MS Kofi, Alice would walk a cry. The MS was stadium Copa, Tamamin Cosidium Accra, so Namco, your boyfriend, Apateris, maybe so my VIP no, Onamico. It will be our own, Nipa 30 or in in fact, that's something about stadium going. Even VIP. And the way I must, no way, yeah, I did work up to Canada back, massive about medical school a long time. I call back, I call 2 baby. I'm going to baby trying, so I never trying. Because only I trained for so many years. I say, I'm a coming Kai among for you. A baby 5 years ago. Yeah, it's not a maybe because I'm in a price box, me petrol honor. And I'm now from them to only the best view. And now from no to house. Me stadium, Mr. Biakon, only the best view stadium. House from Kwa, and many said, do no name, and yeah, I can't team. Eti ya be more like a family. Eti ya shre bako and na go judgment. And your stadium it will be grave also be as oh nana. So become more like a family. It's always anyway when anyone my stadium. Anyway, sadly na and the culture of stadium going. Yes. Because you felt that I say you have to be there. I'm a constant way. Okwa na as living VIP grano. Sa o ma me come at jango num. Obada to see John between. Oko trans everything I say go for video sorry ko. Oh, sad dealing why is it? Aya. See, is it me personal big in Kisia Kabi. My bar aka players ni coaches. Okay. Well, at your high P on 95.7 FM. We are live on Buno FM. 80 and Gal Buno FM. Sunyani important doma fia brekum. Baby, brekum Chelsea for somebody. Dog, okay. I want to go Kintabunya Chamo. Cheers FM so was secondary Takrade, Offenso, Time FM, Pent Radio, Belgium, also Obati and Kao, and Adam Fopa Radio, also Ote Yankanti. Well, yeah, Grayson, remember, so we're going to have league games.
Okay,
and we'll be joined by Kwabena Bois, the writer, the president of SWAG. Nah. Yani Kwabena so I think
onsa ada ya kasa ni nyina de me ni say ase parties no bi am person be accept responsibility doctor can bind there na me de I don't me de major na nka mpese me de support doctor argument no say jare betimi de atoso a chairman we 2019-2020 season enya sports in general. Only the English Premier League contribution to the English GDP. Sika Premier League in Nkwa. Contribute to the UK minor. Chairman, 3.6 billion. Now, cumulatively, Sawasha reporting now, almost from 1998-1999 season, you know. Ediba 2020, how many years now? 99 to 2019, almost 20 year period. Chairman, increment, you know, 3.1 billion. Afibia Sika Premier League in Kwa, Edima UK Bino, Chairman Afibia Konanim. Oh, yeah, sure. Said the English government, it was a so tia on your concern.
Concern, pa.
On put measures say, what is happening?
Yeah. Because
Premier League in Kwa Emma Misika say. But when we say maybe 2 years ebanu, 3 years ebanu, revenue na minya free Premier League in hono, esote the government obviously will show concern. Say I am losing revenue. I don't man can't say me ufi hasi. So we are buying. Now the unya bibia mfi Ghana Premier League in hokra na unya 17 as I atum. VAT ni say.
Got 20.
Say every game be a 20% VAT and that games so. Now bear 10 years ago. Now every game be a 20%, you know, Emma bear 1 billion. Now I drop here to the point say 20%, you know, Emma bear 1,000 Ghana cedis. Are you not going to show concern? Because revenue unya out be develop your mind, an area back so take. But yeah, discussions in no maintain ministry impute. Maintain she inform. It's like omuna enyo mobo omunye enye yasem. But omuye no muye ni yan faso ne ba udibi. In fact, English Premier League in Kwano tax what free players no ho ekobo man no chairman etimi di your man ni etimi yakwai. And the strain of employment. You employ coaches. You employ footballers, or the autumn boot, the autumn jerseys, paramedics. Sa employment ni na any the taxa omutia edima bino chairman nyasem ketwa. It's the UK government na hono na so lose revenue from this source. Chairman on kase a Premier League independent. Omuna yomo ball and family ho obe show concern. In fact, they will sit down and find solutions. Because a Premier League needing faswa ni biba by any ho. But discussions when a media men, the clubs, the FA maintain the ministry, the National Sports Authority maintain their input in this as my yekai.
Well, when him say saying on SWAG platform nana Mickey Charles started at DB. I know menim baby kunyano me here. Kwabena Bois ne jingles or yeah for Kotoko doing her dates no. Yeah fabulous you know. Say where are those moments no? When are we bringing them back? Every president after Kotokone has ne can say Kotokone has no also me you pay didn't go for Bas Stadium. They say I'm on for and in fact I'm one of them. So the FA also have the part to play and Obaka and Sadiq Adam the Ibazi, every president Kedokrako and GPL Lu attenders, the two teams Kotoko has have a lot to do to bring back the fans. It's up to Kotoko to ask why their fans aren't consuming their game. And same as Hartlepool, the fans belong to the clubs and not the GFA. But we will do our part. In one way or the other, he also accept that the FA has the part to play. Ewo enum. Na doc, unya menya unya online so.
Yeah, good.
Yes, Kwabena Eboa, the writer. Good morning.
Hi, Kinkum.
The writer.
Greetings to everybody. How is the ship dealer?
The ship dealer is fine.
Tell you I need some money.
Dogs so ciao. Also, I feed those days.
Good to hear everybody.
All right. Kwabena Eboa, the writer. Me Kwabena nama. Kwabena say, we share Papa Penny. Papa say, Kwabena, I used to watch you when I was young. So I say, now me. Writer, I sad. I'm sure that we are one of the people who are very, very sad because Kwabena Eboa, you are regarded as the voice of sports. Ghana. Now, over here, Kotoko has game on a Sunday. Now you be a gate free. Still, stadium. We didn't even get half full stadium. Now, the conversation about what we're doing right back in the day. If I say in your voice added to this conversation, what is going on?
Well, boss, I get surprised when people express surprise about why the stands are not filled to the rafters. I think fundamentally football basically is about stars. It is the stars who will attract, fans to the stadium. So we are surprised that people are wondering why people are not patronizing our matches. These days, only the hardcore football fanatics who normally patronize the matches. Outside that, there is no attraction. And then you ask a question. If you go back a few years ago, okay, I started watching Kotoko actively maybe around 1970 during the days of Robert Mensah, who I saw just briefly. But so Robert Mensah alone could fill the stadium. So Danapon alone, who was the best right back in Africa, could fill the stands. Oliver Aqua could fill the stands on his own. Only Benya could fill the stand. Then you had the likes of Ibrahim Sunday, Osei Kofi, Yao Sam. This is the Africa Cup winning squad. So each one of them. And so it was not surprising that those days that everybody wanted to go and watch these stars. They were dominant, not only on the local scene, but across the African continent. It was not easy going all the way to Kinshasa to go and counter a team like Englebert, those days. Fast forward, I don't want to waste too much of your time, but even if you fast forward to the days of the 1980s when Sims Mensah took over and injected so much money into Kotoko and brought a number of stars into the team. Before that, from the 1975 to 1979, Hearts of Oak were dominant. That was when they had the fearsome fivesome of Robert Hammond, Mamakwa, Anna Seydu, Peter Lamte, Mohamed Polo. Adofama, who was the best midfielder in Africa, did not even qualify to be called one of the fearsome fivesome. Those players, each one of them could attract so many people to the stadium. Polo alone in the team would attract everybody to the stadium. Expensive Robert Hammond would attract everybody to the stadium. So it was not very, very difficult filling the stands. Hearts were dominant. They beat Kotoko every now and then. And then Sims Mensah took over, injected funds into the club. I mentioned funds because later on we'll discuss the issue of funding and finance. Sims then injected funds and brought the likes of Opokunti, Abdul Karim Zito, Albert Asase, Francis Kumi, Kofi Badu, and then the face of Kotoko changed. They started getting dominant. It was the first time Kotoko beat Hearts of Oak 3-0 at Accra Sports Stadium. So from 1980, they were dominant. They won the league. They won 1982, 1983. They won the Africa Cup. Even 82, when a number of their stars, after they had lost to El Ali of Egypt in the finals, a number of the stars left. So you had Albert Asase, for example, leaving. You had Francis Kumi also leaving. Kofi Badu left. But even with that, the likes of Opokunti, Papaku, Boments, Francis Adjumani, Afrani, they were a bit peripheral, but they were still key parts of the team. And then at the back, you had Ahmed Roxing, you had Ernest Tapau, you had Kojo Adai Chencheni, you had Kosia Pia. That squad was attractive enough. Everybody, every Sunday went to the stadium to watch these stars. They won the local scene. They won the Africa Cup. I remember I had the privilege of being with them in Belema when we went and played Belema in Zaire. Kotoko had won the first leg by 3 goals, and Belema had threatened to beat Kotoko not less than 5 goals. We went there, and believe me, they had an extraordinary squad. Within the first 15 minutes, they had scored 2 goals. But before that, Setan Padu and Joseph Carr had deserted the team. I have not said it anywhere, but I'll say it for the first time on your network. I had to personally go and see Assad Mallah, who was then a director of Kotoko, to make sure that those 2 players returned to the team. Because when they left the team, they were complaining about failure on the part of management to respond to their financial needs. And they left the team. And a number of the supporters felt, Kotoko was bigger than those players, so if they want to go, they should go away. We will play our games. And then we lost Rats of Oak. And then the supporters started waking up to the reality that he needed those stars to go into Africa. So I went to see Assad Mallah. We struck a deal. We settled them on the quiet, outside the knowledge of everybody. They were brought back to Kumasi, and they were the 2 players who really, really saved us in Belema, against Belema. So Kotoko proceeded against Giraffes, the likes of Jutex, who was the best player. They had an excellent coach, Ibrahim Sunday. And I speak about Sunday because during the semi-final, when Jutex was the best player, Yaya Kasum had not even touched the ball during the whole series. Somehow, Ibrahim Sunday had studied early and realized that their best player was El Khatib, who later became the African best footballer. And that if he needed a player who could just mark him out of the match, and he thought it was Yaya Kasum who could do that job, the hatchet job. Many fans completely disagreed with Ibrahim Sunday. The management completely disagreed. We went to Cairo with Yaya Kasum. And when the final 11, Ibrahim Sunday decided to use Yaya Kasum. Indeed, the late Alan Jima, Bawa all resisted fiercely. Sunday decided if they prevented him from using Yaya Kasum, he was going to resign there and then. They allowed him. Yaya Kasum emerged one of the best players, completely marked out El Khatib. Kotoko drew the match, won the Africa Cup in 1983. So that winning streak was enough to bring the fans to the stadium on every single. The stars were there in their numbers. You have to even fast forward to the days of Isaac Kwache, Joe Debra, and then Hearts of Oak, they had the Shamokwe. Indeed, even with Hearts of Oak, when they had the 64 Battalion, when they dominated the local scene and the continental level, of course, the stadium was always full. So my point is that, look, the fans are not going to the stadium. We can accuse the FA all we want. We can accuse everybody all we want. Once there are no stars to go and watch, the fans would not attend matches. Look, as we speak, apart from a few people who are very close to Asante Kotoko and who always patronize their games, and there are very, very few, how many Kotoko fans can mention 4 players of Asante Kotoko offhand? The stars are not there. The same applies to Hearts of Oak and across the country. Every now and then, when a player starts blossoming, what happens is that the player leaves the shores of this country. And I've made this point over and over and over. I'm beginning to sound monotonously boring. I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. I'm getting a bit repetitive, and I don't even feel comfortable about that because I repeated this over and over and over. I remember close to 10 years ago, I had a conversation, an interview with our brother Jolaka on Angel.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him that Asante Kotoko would never, ever, ever, ever attain greatness again if the paradigm shift of the management does not change. And I remember saying, this is 10 years ago, and I made a point that until there was that paradigm shift, Kotoko, of course, occasionally will win the league title, but in Africa, they will make no impact. Am I right or wrong? I've been proved right over the last 10 years. Occasionally, you will win and beat the chain, United, beat Diana. I keep saying that is not the level of Asante Kotoko. And same applies to Hearts of Oak. once you are not investing sufficient money into the team, you are not buying quality materials, you are not retaining your players, forget it. We are joking. Let's not play the ostrich. I find too much pretense and hypocrisy in the system. Why are we pretending we don't know what is going on? How do you pay a player at the end of the entire month 1,000 Ghana cedis or 2,000 Ghana cedis and expect that if he gets a contract of $1,000, and $1,000 on the international market is peanuts? But our players will leave our shores, go to Benin, go to Tanzania, go and check the number of Ghanaian players in Tanzania. They'll go to Tanzania, they'll go elsewhere, go and attract $1,000, attract $2,000. And when I made this point a few years ago, that at least Kotoko and House should set the tone of paying their players not less than $2,000 a month, I was subjected to ridicule. That is the plain truth. Until we stop paying slave wages, until we start paying realistic fees for our players and retain our players over a period. Why do you think that the North Africans are so dominant in Africa? Every single year in the Confederations Cup and in the Champions League, check the number of North African teams that play from the quarterfinal to the semi-final to the final. They're the only team that are playing there. I mean, you had the likes of Sundowns challenging them because so much millions of dollars is being pumped into Sundowns, which is owned by Motsepe, who is the CAF president. He's a billionaire, not a millionaire. Billionaire in dollars. I think the only person who can compete with Motsepe may be your ship dealer. He commands dollars in billions. And that is why Sundowns are able to retain their players and indeed bring players, some of them even from Brazil. I'm talking about quality materials from Brazil. I'm not talking about jokers. Quality materials from Brazil. So that is why they're able to even compete with the North Africans. And then TP Mazembe, a few years ago, the governor also pumped in millions of dollars. Indeed, if you remember, several years ago, when they played against Chelsea at Accra Sports Stadium, they brought two planes. One brought the players and the technical team. The other plane brought supporters and the media. That's how wealthy they are. Without that kind of investment in our football, I don't see why we keep complaining, because every time a very, very average player starts blossoming, what happens? The teams who have been bereft of serious funding sell the players for peanuts. So, for example, only 2 years ago, the petit Brazilian player, Gama, was beginning to excite some fans and was beginning to attract some fans to the stadium. What happened? In no time, he was let go. And Bella came, scoring goals for Asante Kotoko. In no time, he was let go. Every now and then, you're loading your players, employing mediocre, sorry, I don't want to sound offensive to the players, but you're employing, with all due respect, average players. And as soon as they start gaining some form of experience, you offload them. How is anybody going to come to the stadium? And I keep telling you, football basically is about stars. So when you find, and it is not true, I don't believe that fans are not going to the stadium because they want to stay home and watch, especially the Premiership. That is not true. A few years ago, I remember very well, when Kotoko and Hearts were doing well, this is about 4 years ago, there was a serious match between Chelsea and Manchester United. The fans ignored that, came to the stadium in their numbers to fill the rafters and watch that game because the two teams were beginning to excite them. Only, I think, about 2-3 years ago, when the Olympics were in good shape and they played against Hearts of Oak at Accra Sports Stadium, what happened? The stadium was filled to the rafters. Olympics, Hearts of Oak. Because the teams were playing well. Awako was playing for Olympics. He was in superb shape, and the fans came. So it is not a simple question. I think we get a bit simplistic suggesting that it's because of the Premiership. It is because our players are not doing well. There isn't much quality. So if you want to stem the tide, number one, it's simple. The paradigm positioning of the clubs must change, and particularly with Hearts and Kotoko. I keep mentioning them because they have the largest following in this country. And let me zoom into Kotoko. I keep repeating myself. You need a strategic investor. That argument that Kotoko is a traditional team, so you can't give it to any strategic investor, I keep asking the question, Kotoko is no more traditional than Liverpool. They're no more traditional than Manchester United. Indeed, but these teams, as traditional as they are, at the point that they needed serious funding, they had to go beyond their shores to go and bring serious investors who came and dumped in so much money. At the end of the day, the red jersey at Anfield would never change. It is the investor who will change. So what is this argument about Kotoko being a traditional team so you can't cede that right to any strategic investor? Until we do that, I tell you what, it is impossible. Nabaya is the CEO. Where is he getting the funding? Every now and then, you hear about so much sponsorship. What is the level of sponsorship in Kotoko? You can have 50 sponsorship. What is the quality? To what effect is that quality? How are you taking care of your players, your infrastructure, and attracting quality materials? So until you get to that point, you can't even talk about serious sponsorship. So it's very, very, very sad. And I think that this must be a big, big wake-up call that Kotoko and Hearts. And in those days when those two teams, attracted the fans to the stadium, if you went to the stadium by 11 a.m., there was no way you're going to get a seat. By 10 a.m., the stadium was already full, But also those were the days we had serious Coast football, so the Coast teams would come and play. And then the second team, Auroras and Nochi, would come and play before the first team. I know times have changed, but the fundamental issue is funding. And I stress, funding. And I talk about serious funding, which is about several millions of dollars, not cities. How did Chelsea suddenly become a force to reckon with in the English Premiership? That was when Abramovich took over and dumped in so much millions. That's when the tide changed. When did Manchester City become a force to reckon with? The paradigm shift changed, and they gave the team to the Arab deep pockets who came and sunk so much money into the club. Today, Manchester City are competing not just in England, but across the world. That is how to build teams. And I'm saying that until we get to that point where we do serious funding into these teams, let's stop all the questions of why people are not coming to the stadium. Why are the fans for them to come and watch? Somebody should explain that to me.
Okay. Another thing, about maintaining players inside the Sikasem Yeking. Now, clubs in Israel, imagine say I got a league sponsorship. Now, league sponsorship, $2 million. I had $1 million. The sponsor keeps it for promotion. $1 million, I can. Yeah, check $500,000. I'm a clubs. Nina, yes, I go pram. Obviously, pram you're more legal, but league sponsors you go pram. So every club is getting like $25,000 to $30,000 for playing 34 games. And sadly, the same FA Skarama clubs feel it's okay to give a single individual $100,000 US for spending 14 or 15 days with the Black Stars. I remember in your speech during the Swag Awards, you make okay. So it means that systematically it looks like you're now wrong.
Yeah, you raise an important point. Say, win league, then you are giving $25,000-$30,000, and then a management member of the Black Stars. And I'm not getting personal against any individual. It's just the principle I'm opposed to. And I raise this issue not because some of us are not involved, because I remember very well in 1995, I had the privilege. If you remember, that was the year the Black Starlets went to Ecuador to play the World Cup. And before that, we went on an European tour, and I was privileged to be with the team. So it was from Germany to England. We went and stayed at the Bobby Charlton International Football School with the Starlets over a period. And I remember, we so rest in peace, Alade Chawula was then the leader of the team. And I remember very well at that time, I found out that our per diem was higher than the players. And I protested. I protested to Alhaji Chawula, and that's why we should earn bigger per diem than the players. And his explanation was that, we don't attract winning bonus. And I said, no, I don't think we should even raise the issue of winning bonus or whatever. At that time, the issue of appearance fee hadn't even cropped up. But I said, listen, Alhaji, I run Africa Sports. No player benefits from Africa Sports. You work at the Ministry of Finance. No player benefits from your entitlements at the Ministry of Finance. So if they are playing, I personally do not think that any official should earn more than them. So I'm saying that I started fighting against this very, very, very long ago. The first time I raised this issue was as far back as 1995. So it's got nothing personal against the individuals who find themselves on the management team of the Black Stars. But I think that our judgment and thinking, I think, is unfortunately a bit problematic. I don't want to use very harsh words, slightly warped, because there is no way you should give an appearance fee to a managing member of the Black Stars. It makes no sense. And then you give a team that is winning the league $30,000. Having said that, I personally also do not think, as much as the FA must take the lead in seeking serious sponsorship for the clubs, and I know in Europe, the situations are very, very different. It's not the same. The terrains are different. Because in Europe, they're very, very fortunate to have lots of money, for example, from television. So at least television pays so much to them. The same cannot be said in our part of the world. Having said that, the FA can take the initiative to secure very serious funding. And don't forget that for a very long time, until recently, the league didn't even have any sponsorship. So I think that the Kent administration is not doing badly in terms of even securing sponsorship. It is too little. We can improve that. So we can talk about that. But let's not reduce the conversation to the FA. The clubs also have a responsibility on their own to seek serious sponsorship. That is what I'm talking about. Primarily, it is the clubs who have to seek sponsorship. And I personally also think that in Africa, unlike in Europe, I think there is a role that governments can also play. I do not think that, considering our finances, very, very weak finances of the clubs and all that, we should leave the funding entirely to the club. There is a way the government, central government, can also help. I make this point because I do know that in the past, for instance, governments were solely responsible for clubs' participation in Africa until the late Tommy Thompson and Sims Mensah decided to present a paper to the government called the self-sponsorship. When they started sponsoring themselves and taking the money, it's become problematic in recent times. But I think governments can give the clubs some seed money at the beginning of every season, and then also take the responsibility of clubs going into Africa. These days, you have clubs qualifying to Africa. They're even reluctant to go and participate. And those who dare participate, as soon as they return, their finances are completely dried up. I think the central government can play a role in helping the clubs, especially in Africa, and at the beginning of seasons, give some seed, money. And again, companies and individuals who really, really sponsor the clubs, I think that there should be a tax waiver for these companies if government is not directly dumping money to the clubs. I think the way to encourage companies and individuals helping our football, and for that matter, our sports, is to at least ensure that they have that tax waiver. As we speak, it's supposed to be a law on paper, but I do know that the companies and individuals struggle if they go and seek exemption from monies they've dumped into the club. So there are a number of ways we can look at it, but primarily, I think that the clubs must take it upon themselves instead of constantly blaming the FA. As I indicated, the FA has a role to play, but I do not think that the clubs should also shake their responsibility and entirely wait for the FA to bring the funding, before, because it's an eyesore. We talk about the fans not attending matches. There are a number of issues can come. For example, look at the pitches on which we play football. The least we can do is for the FA, for instance, to help all these clubs play on decent pitches. It's an eyesore. They're playing on potato rice pad pitches. Potato pitches. Not good for television. When you watch the pitches on which we play, and then you switch over, say Europe, and look at the pitches, who wants to go to the stadium and watch games there? It's not right. Number two, we do know that some of the clubs, unfortunately, have the tendency, sometimes they are tempted to fix some of the matches. So if you have predetermined scores, sometimes it's problematic for fans to go to the stadium when they can even predict the scoreline of some of these matches. So there are a number of areas we have to look at, and this is what the issue of even the management of the team comes to the fore as to whether it is right for people who run the clubs to be the same people who run the FA. It's a big subject that we need a whole program to discuss, because if you want to regulate the clubs, for instance, and the same people running the FA are supposed to regulate the clubs, who watches the watchman? So, for example, if you want to curb the issue of match fixing, for instance, and the people supposed to resolve the issue, some are the ones also perpetuating it. How is anybody supposed to regulate a system like that? So it's a whole subject for another day that we need to look at very critically. But there are myriad of problems confronting our football. But basically, I think that if we want to get it right, funding, the financing is very, very critical. Until we get that right, there is no way going to succeed. And I'll tell you what, you remember before Herbert Mensah took over Asante Kotoko, the team was struggling. And I had looked at the management structure of the club over a period, and the only reason I was encouraged to go and encourage Herbert to come and take over Kotoko was because he had done the Max Brito show, and I had looked at his management level and his contacts. And you know, beyond the Max Brito show, which was one of the most successful and massive events at Accra Sports Stadium, beyond that, he organized a number of games, charity games. So we did the Samakwe charity event, for instance. We did another charity event to raise funds for the pitch of the Accra Sports Stadium. And in all that, I just realized that his contacts, his tentacles were so wide that I felt that he commanded the wherewithal to bring in sponsorship to Kotoko. And it's the only reason I encourage him to take over Kotoko. And I don't need to bore you. We all witnessed during that period what happened to Asante Kotoko. The fans who were trooping to the stadium, the number of players who were brought on board. And then during the entire period, remember, only one player was transferred. So the number of all the players for the 4 years were retained. And then in the 5th year, Kotoko won the Africa Cup when they also brought on the likes of Chastile and others. You know, so there is a template we can all follow. You don't reinvent the wheel. And I'm saying that until we get the finances right, and when I talk about the finances, I'm not talking about millions of Ghana cedis. I'm talking about millions of Ghana of dollars. And for me, the two teams that should set the tone would be Hearts of Oak and Asante Kotoko.
Kwabena Yeboah, the writer. Yeah, that's CP. Minim say anope o tete no apum. But now also join the discussion. Thanks so much. Doc, you're the writer,
writer, always good to listen to you.
Yes. Writer, yeah, that's CP.
That's and country ship dealer self. Me trains.
Yeah, we got you. Well, let's give a governor of the writer, Kwabena. I mean, if anybody has earned the right to speak on such a matter, I think the Kwabena Yeboah is the president of SWAG. I don't know, beyond the contest. But you're right now, Kwabena Yeboah said, I didn't be a discussions now in the Ecosono. Yes. Different Kwabena Yeboah about funding. Like I said, it's about time a club like Kotoko, people, investors to come in. CSA Kotoko, a traditional club, but there's no traditional club more than Liverpool. Because maybe you discuss also the podcast, you can decide to say we have a top 40%. 40% of Kotoko. Then still, Menchia takes you know. Yes, I mean, monument structure. Yeah, waka. Yes. Well, but and a league game on
right account do drawing basically on funding. But Doc, Chrome was saying so as a kafoka crebe born, so na system nasa frustrate you mapamomo. Chrome was saying the few times Enyes Kafo Kesben Kwabra Eboa Kesbene Kwabra Yegola Tony Yeboah. These are people at Ghana football here. Now when you listen to Tony Yeboah, any frustrations are system didn't fair mu pamuna. How then do you ultimate best sell Ghana football to sikani bi se onu so mranfa ni sika meshim no amwa? Because basically bona ye ni krumu asira na yebo ye ni wiase no se sika memu a untimi nye. Chelsea is what they are today because of Scout. Man City, Man City 20 years ago, near kind of best teams in the Premier League. Man City didn't come. Sika. Tiba bini die system no carry Jessica for moba. Ba ye kromu ase no the few times sika ni bi ebe show interest. This politician CPP man Indom. Dear I am frustrated now, man. Why are you so frustrated to leave Ghana football? Me sure say even Togo Fede. And yes, how are you passionate about how to focus and where the investment made any returns never na ebian kojai. Ye yesika for no. Why yesika niya untimi nye football? But a few times yesika for na bano. The example set you know, and you're good enough to attract others. Now a krona ye miano. Sometimes you find the easiest excuse. You're near crony, ye doctor. Excuse Ben Omoka. Sometimes somebody say economy. Ghana said maybe time Ben me no mo ya doing times are hard. But me Ben na Ghana say because Ghana am the pay.
The size of the economy of Ghana and Tanzania measure. Any economy. Tanzania economy no Ghana economy.
Doc, any crowd you the examples of Ghana and baby. The Ghana can say example. Times were hard in 1983. People were watching football in 83. Again,
that's what I'm making. Oh, players management next time. So say strike any hand pa. But my cousin with the message kabium. Because you don't need a player to play more than 4 years in your league to be star. That is my kind. In the moment, so players don't watch me and Tom. Me with my program here, playing after 4 years, but on. And we bring better value than the Muton and say, hey, you go, then I'm Cafano. Hey, come Pompogo, then I'm going. Then I'm going. Then I call Sababaki. Why can't we see beyond our noses? I said it here. Hey, can you understand me? Because I call okay. And go see baby. Now me a prophet and I me people any. My baby had say Kotoko African Cup no. Covid players from the African Cup no. But starting from goalkeeper to 11. What you call Canada up 70s for no. I need bring Jano near your bobo with me. Miss me 83 for no. Joka Kotoko Dambe 1980. Or African Cup 83. Me command Harudane Apple can care less. Harudan the Kone is by 79 and 80 no better than Kotoko. Because you have Kotoko Dambe 1980.
3 years.
Ampadu Johnny 79.
4 years.
Roxin Alan Chenchen Johnny Elliott Chenchen was about 76. One open away outlier room. Roxin 1980.
3 years.
Bannerman 1980.
3 years.
Yeah, consumed 1 year. Or by 82. It was 3 na. Ebuma by 83 na. Opokunti 1980. Afrani Alan Francis Manum 1980. She took the African Cup no. Obukunti Africa Cup no. Ma kan dem than. Okay, know this.
So no very young.
Right? No this guess. Say on for who say. Ya we on born here ntia said. Ojane Kotoko was a teenager. 19 years. 22 years na no African Cup. 22 years old, yet 28, 29, 30. 22 years. Could we do no secondary school boy 22. But if you ask yourself, why an Asa players we be got 3 years to make African Cup? Big that's the question you ask yourself. And the players and the players won't be need 3 years of Kotoko. Is it get 3 years? Yeah. I don't know more quality no to mean Drusa boys no. Because these boys were secondary school boys so But the quality was so good. So yes, because their foundation, you know, people tell this come always say their foundation no more. A man who Bakotoko as a 19-year-old, that's a 22-year-old, Uji African Kappa Makotoko. The quality of the training and Omunia. The quality. That quality if you never.
Coaches. Coaches in the zone.
I don't tell coaches come and listen to Kofi, ye uni kakaya in the 80s square with Pampo coaches be the ball. Coach are never around Afrani. Afrani record. Afrani agenda 7 to 20 final, or 20 final. Or some do Nations Cup 82. Sike Jamfiaji Nations Cup 3 times. Coach Omuina, those coaches are no more achievement. John Jones, Maji Africa, Ako Coach Benin. So no more caliber no was true. And they cast your mind around the league. Near coach is the whole league. Big coach Bepana was the highest pedigree league in Zilga with coach Ben.
Is it a Pagosi?
League Pagosi Bepana man say coach in the pedigree was so bad.
Pagosi Fabian, Manamakan.
Why they didn't watch it?
Only about
Maso Kunedu.
I did it.
Then a muscle like
Akuchi Blasters.
They will be watching, then why a team and then watch it.
Sub on one could blast down.
So, only a problem.
Opportunity of association. It was there because of association.
Only a problem. You're coaching up.
The coaches was so many association, you merit.
Coaching up from so much, nobody seems to care. That's why Macan want to make our share. Say coaching, you take a serious look at the coaching. And then I'm open a meeting, organizing for radio. And do Okasa, intelligent Okasa. So why can't this guy be a coach? What am I saying?
Yeah.
I am for Jigoking or Ghana. Echo Boy did very well. Ebon under 20, about under 70, about under 20 for national team. When you expose your way, now, Okasa was Tibola. Why not your coach? Because no one ready to be a coach. Or see any of my own. And just strategic, or see a planning. Suspenders banner a right hand. I buy sponsor every what form. Mama buy blueprint to fear that. You know it.
Yeah.
Obienti, Minister County. I'm telling you, since SK we see a World Cup. And they come and go to me. How the mommy 4 years, Kofi, 4 years. That amount of money now, 4 years. Now I'm say every club, you have a 4-year plan, and then the 4 years, and Ghanaian clubs will start doing well in Africa. And it can be done 5 years it will happen. So that players every club you have a list of 25 players are only 21 and below. Emremi. As a government, I'm going to guarantee their salary per month of $2,000 a month. So they will pay to stay here for just 4 years. We are, baby, better Ghana. That's the same which means I train some players, quality coaches. I show mama, I'm not trying 4 years. Because I'm proving to you, my best has your crowd at your 2,000.
Yeah.
You don't need 10 years to get players to reach the top. I just have to put 3 years. Me say football cycle, we in a year. Could be 4 years you see results. If you know what you plan. When the Saska could with him and Poko D, and that place they play Chobianka, yeah, pitches here. But coaches in it, yeah, good coaches are. As what is school now, only good teachers. How do you survive?
Yeah.
And do you know why those coaches are from sports council coaches? Okay,
now by now sports council the two Omoka.
One of the ends. What was the idea?
The idea was that sports council the good training for development of sports and mark clubs.
Yes.
Your guarantees a cananas and then a Jimbreno. First woman in Yansa, and then a Jimbreno. We
are coach, you are guaranteed salary from sports council. So, Kotoko will be only team Kana out if you know you are guaranteed your salary because I buy training, I buy investing you to a sports council coach.
Yeah.
You see how smart it was. Then I say anymore. But look at our coach. Me show coach is nice. Na league coach. The coach want to develop a player. Between one match and one player, we say player in the 40 ni.
Na go for coach go for be go for ba. Where go for coach Seven Matic. Go for Zebu. Omunyina nya de e no mu de nam pro.
O share league na. O timi share match ba ko player we say they can ni. Player we ni defect ni. Two good coacher. Within 1 year you can work on that coach players how to make correct. That's how you do coaching. They say your man crowd will score your money. Into your Caribbean baby and trying to be a weakness.
So Nyadi or
Nyadi or
it is my
son coaching. So So if you're a coach, I know you'll be able to improve your players. And I'm saying, debate is players maybe from last year, but this year. I have performance crack off. Ogana can say they figure crowd was sacred.
Figure.
But how is that supposed to be? Say, coaching, you're supposed to improve like Bukayo Saka. 3 years, they be on anymore.
Yeah.
You improve Martinelli, improve it. Yeah. That's coaching. They improve. They don't go backwards. So, na ogumya de na minim whatever happen ma kofa coach on to Brofia then you see the players declining.
You need plan for some obodo.
Plan bien.
Oh yeah, coach ni you the fans say House of Folk could have decided so ebia to be my friend. O de you forget about if you ever say I don't know papa TV papa na do remo. Na mam tum bobom brand. Now the House of Folk as a club could have decided that listen, yeah, Cincinnati Foes and one Hamburg was if will be Hoffenheim. And you are going there for a year.
Yeah.
Attachment. Go and learn. Nasabra. Well, yeah, but how they don't worry. Yeah, sponsor to go. Yeah. Because Dunga, I'm not Brazil for the national team man. I realize that Dunga no nyan drew ho. Brazil Dunga di. And Brazil Federation. I sponsor Dunga to further his coaching course. And no movie no say go far the baby anya you know the well o my anya fine yeah then they leaving it to chance and the coach is no ma bounty global go to ma bomber o go born now me say the chairman get a lot of training ko e kroma you don't see that coach omni coach sema say the coach no fam say right o mo nya hwe ho they don't teach that's a coach very bad and say I don't say defensive structure say be how they defend corners why right I got it omun ni man kray enti o yes skillful player now league ni ma coach is number some ball because of a player onya o yes anu atwa ball no defender bia person pass ball ma striker straight midfielders number me say midfielders want on your attack omun ti ball na say and omu di akiri because o go pramprama o benya set o te brofo na go church no enya set and women it comes from the dog kaba ministry about when you taste a ministry near FM meeting and you know Ajabako scared to come blast out. That's all it is. Over to the president that Fred ministry FFY you kept blast our coach. We are a bunch of confused people. Seven predators. You didn't see you sorry, so because you ever didn't you?
And then me aka me share about him biti do.
Over to dog, why enjoy dog?
Chairman
yeah some no yaw.
Chairman
you plan.
Not doc a cap planning assembly. Emma doc the AstroTurf ebem. Chairman, AstroTurf na the purpose and they say ye AstroTurf na they are building talent. Yes. But you look at it, and it gets to a point say because say any plan you know, AstroTurf na eba be kele talent mum. Kroman you see AstroTurf at the said he had J Park near the stores because akwala na ono first ebi obafia ebia without a coach ono ekwakwa bobo no one polish on one talent on any number for more di omo referee no mo yom bibia because in the area part of the world a hodom na dey start free. You see AstroTurf ni wia sa akwala ni this country on to be mobile AstroTurf ni to biom e dia fe AstroTurf no ye the man panyi for ebi won ma ebi akif fit clubs ono na onfa football nya hwe e wo daache no ono na ye AstroTurf ni man because ono na wo sika obetimi atua no obobo AstroTurf ni so
AstroTurf but nya accessible
yes e dia akwala na ono nti ye see AstroTurf say ya dey betetene no abebo da board daache no ya kiri akwala ni mum daache because onisco obetua no obobo AstroTurf ni so e di AstroTurf na yesi no ebi wo no ma ye di see stores krampo anankeye because ebi a ebe employ obi abana baba be ye adwuma wo because we have no proper planning. It's a idea that was a boa kola na building the dache ne talent no e ba be kum talent ni mum
my members assembly oh yeah me no yare no enye ye kan ye ball no yare na e kwa akosi omampanyin so hwe omampanyin etimi frɛ F4 say coaches omampanyin ba gan eba abam no se ko opese gan ni coach Black Stars
yeah
and they try 1-2 unze nyina eja enze nyina opia those are some ye conversation
say no so compete do na maybe ka
me say mbusa say dachi bi o man panyi fufuro bi ba no say opese Ghana ni coach ya then na ye copy a Ghanaian coach to be able to take over the Black Stars in the future. Concept party ni Grimo.
Plan ali makada. Anka we source me out to say who say president Ghanaian coach president. They say the Nibia or ready. But me 5 years. Me nya be 10 amount. Me plan am say me A B C D na the plan akoto man pinyin to be a former players on big time football on ye panditry. Yam abain says can any $1 million crowd. Okay, announce me a check sky a chair for sa a UEFA never name. Could be announces how. Announces how.
If we can give 7 people $700,000
who minister who tell president just okay president I don't okay yeah but you say idea me na me too can make a president ni new way to me but mommy 5 years me man quality be 8 Ghanaian a year up and coming coaches they will change our league and change it after Blaster they may be 12 to so 10 years we kon we ba and this is the plan so play time for me you for Monko Europe omunkoye badges nza see asamoja ya do baby
say omoya ahano ya ne bia me Ignatius okọ waka baako ba ya Ignatius bibia ya bia efi o baby
ya no all disappointing you o question nya wa anya still but me can if one send one cry but it's any university but
well and the Ghana Premier League
Premier League dey say nyankwa na ebe ko to be say ko
ever 15 minutes
ma big in Canada gadra Intisani mano also presenting a plan. And then my problem no ye bia ye as a laissez faire jaino e to mana afa antomana afa you can't do many footballs out Finland Belgium Morocco Nigeria mu say e ka say how can they
Canada
because Morocco for the no
buying this cable now buying the running FC virtually when you go to Morocco your clubs in the running FC say they high low the lie they tell them chantrona they don't bring the whole picture. When you go to Morocco are buying or stake in football. Said you maybe are buying the Unipa every president. And the moment see every president. And the silly talk of some of their people. And they say football for and running football. Said a carpenter for almost they drink of phobia or yeah carpenter in tell football for. But only say compare mangoes and oranges. It's totally different. Ghana ha ye nim say ye nipa bi before ye nipa boni ewe ye trim ye nka no kre enti say odi me Kofi can come be president na say me nya me above pay na me ko de nya na me contract me ma me nya ho cut ene meji enti me ankasa no e wo say me hye mra e be stop me from doing that and enti ade ne ankasa okay FIFA mo mra no say na tie but the thing say you cannot bring landing solutions to Ghana. And na Morocco for omo ye member of FIFA to say the member of FIFA na Morocco no o hene no okru nim no ono o stake o yi obi on the ball no so o sports and recreation bibia ball for ni nyina hye and na obeti $4 million $10 million some of them see a modern academy because I dia it belongs to him ye dia no ye nyane sa because ye nyina ko pe bia di minister pe bia di president pe bia di chief of staff pe bia di FA pe bia di players pe bia di omo yiri no pe obi pe bia di ntie di ye dia ye sie ye ne ka dompe a ye ja to enye no ano
edu be bi na mafia acoustico the can be penisenka ko e yon no
acoustic one of these days
scan a call scan na call
pram that's just sending me some of the documents yes scan call na ka league sponsorship no league sponsorship yeah you be see the go see picture pram ball go pram your ball go
big pram has a basket to ni issue gumu
one of the traditional venues Okroma Pioneer events Coronation Park and Ebia Brekum Park Ikra and Ebia Doma yes okay if you know e bo ma ye pitch no standard ebia mo sponsors with the media yen say dia san ma fact I'm not saying he's right but some mobiles can put their picture e pram mo league o you am say pram na ho your league ni ye say no your ball ni ye say no na everyone you blame o ma you blame your buy no Minister of Sports for Obekroma you know me in Paponefo. Omo na me ye bre.
na come the first appoint to mu
na yɛ ti wei
go bi come the first appoint to mu
ba sa blaster for ne ba so omo ba Kumasi next 2 weeks
oh kasa man for kwan
yeah
me program me number advocacy me program say blaster or had the say sports you be ka blaster asem but every program
and so me kebi
every program they say I want to say and some free local player and local player really look at the I dey hear they go free local player na be do
we if for so mo na man nipa go stadium monte
and to me man nipa nkoi
omun kasa
Nigeria
omun so okay
omun use that as an example say omun organize omun the nipa kwenti ko as intimate nipa nko
asemu no ma be nia unim mpanyimfo ne die so mbegya tum say ebia adewe etibekwa de me suggestion kwa ne say and I've said this so many times me say me yeketo kwa I'll arrange say me call it all the club CEOs munyina minyamo me pet club reps CEOs the main people financing the clubs me frɛ ebia former FFO ebia mumra ministry for mumra sports authority for mumra experienced people doc num ne mumra nipa be 50 ye be brainstorming how do we do you born yenga ni say biem yenga then do we have to draw a plan today mun nyina no matters because obi ope omo mo pay for president nyina call them because they will love
all can make catch on say ebinu hu binu as enemies
don't see them because omo nyina no ope every president now no ba na efe na gua what do you preside over
gana ni fa hu sa o unse gana for your title ko funye hu yo
title then is okay
oh yeah CEO of company the Greg and fan o CEO your title so adwuma ni empe adwuma ni you
anyway
funye hu your problem no
and dear Hustler birthday happy birthday dear Hustler is in the UK
hey no maybe you
dear Hustler na I can see as I know
oh me be
na say na fro
maybe you
Obani bra
oh that was wonderful
dear
hey Kobezo
so the last time you my friend no say Murphy there by say UK you go ani
oh wonderful me name that
just like in the UK now now
happy birthday
just happy birthday they say there okay now we are see environment is our bravo dia pa say the way you for
that's what break
na say go akonfo bi ko bo ni telephone wa yo e ba bre let be answer team say dia me so dey be na be 10 years time na 15 na say no bisa we kai kwame kesi ni my so nko abigina o me conference call no to na so baba da be and I come kesi when check my so say hey speak for yourself media in young boy say
last time when you go anya my na idea
is hey man go
star boy onye na nyu gaso ba
dia happy birthday to you happy birthday and then Mercy so birthday Mercy of Multimedia Kumasi na Mercy baby daddy the message be about say nkaima no etina mpese me Mr. Ebua okay I'll say happy birthday my love words are not enough to express my appreciation you are so unique in your own way I really cherish you dear don't have any regrets meeting you and taking a long walk with you from Akia and I we love you and thank you for everything and I know your message from Mr. Ebua to Mercy Multimedia Kumasi Mercy happy birthday sometime a man ne omo pe birthday o say me man be omo nka and a birthday no omo kan sa no so a just say also the birthday present ko say na say go ka say obi Pepsi de do bi to Pepsi de go chi obi ala to soap bi na yi go chi obi go anya we eno anu na na wi ko na say International Women's Day Mother's Day ba oh yeah Val's Day by Christmas by boy zebro
thank you for so much day menstruation day
I give you the COVID day COVID day okay it's I don't know well Biggie yan share the match na kakra bi na yan sorry so yan the match na kakra bi and baby any go na number say come ko baby any but Sadly, I'm saying, and baby go stars in the hearts of go baby. Andy, the original can't move now. Okay.
So, I have to focus this particular season, and Neman Shadam Kuyin from my heart. But a Neman Kuyin from my heart, no.
Hey, has a Gotoko, wasn't Kuyin. I
Neman Shadam Kuyin from.
Hey, or him every day got Tassim on over you, or say has squad, or say, or think your friend has place in your blast. I day on my second.
So, a Neman Kuyin from my heart. But time on a Neman Kuyin, and I say, have to focus quite away in Quadia. Supporters near guaranteed say performance no was show.
Also Ashford. There has also Ashford. Okay, I say some 30 minutes drive from London.
Home na Nema and Shadam Koyi, but almost too quiet away in Quadia. No supporters no guaranteed because away performance was very good. And it's a hard to folk call away. Even before Nema Koyi, no, na Nema called the mom na affair wababa beshe kotoko. I am using that afraid no abeshe kotoko no because has to folk ni Kumasi Asante Kotoko chairman say was steady for the past 4-5 years. Omumi enu share we are. Wa obe win no enya some different kind of morale booster. Every round matches mu. Wonso so obe lose no odi agra or subsequent games be 3, 4, 5. E be difficult the amount. And they have to folk enya a better share over that of Kumasi Asante Kotoko no. Some morale booster na ye hu after their meetings in the last 4-5 seasons no ababa be have to folk side. Babiani go start this season and Nema Koye the Momo at the 7th and players in waiting for the players. Apart from that, Chairman, almost see you or promise you say almost Misha had to focus. Yemba player be 2,000 Ghana cedis. 20 million. A lot of the players in the Ghana Premier League, every crampo, every market to your crampo, 1,000 Ghana cedis square a problem. So for you to play a single game, near Besha Obosa Shenebra, bet you 2,000 Ghana cedis, no. For a Ghana Premier League player, it is going to do a lot for the player. And also so another motivation. Ababa Beka also so Eliama players, no. This season, so what are they about? Has to folk versus that of Babiani Ghost Stars, Ewa Kra. Ebi Obibetimi Akasena has to folk home form, Enyentino. But even though had to folk won the game, it was a mistake. Babiani Ghost Stars goalkeeper Kokoye resulting into a red card, and a man had to folk Babina advantage. And as Slav Komatic, he changes any attackers Bermuda pressure about Babiani Ghost Stars. So, but fast forward, what Babiani Ghost Stars are? They've gotten some experienced players. Today, Omo Ampem Da Costa, a former Kumasi Asante Kotoko player, Ash Gold, Kaila United. It's one of the players who have a lot of experience in the Ghana Premier League. They have Farouk Adams. And so actually one man. And also experienced when it comes to the Ghana Premier League. If you want to they have quality. Charles Jamfi Kamara has also proven say one of the ball carriers in the Ghana Premier League. Say creative spaces and farmer attackers and Fanya Juma. If you have a bad negotiator, chairman one starting season year. But I bet negotiator as we speak. One of the top scorers in the Ghana Premier League. Watch 8 goals as we speak. And meeting a former side and so no, it's another motivation for the player bet negotiator. He feels Oko has to focus on a lot of opportunity. It is oh she had now. Or the person or has to focus for say he had the quality ball on him. And almost normal man akwanya amanensi akaino amfama omo had to focus. Apart from that, so we heard the other side of the corner. Had to focus team no. One problem on more partner said the attackers are not scoring. And two attackers are almost goals. Now Ukwa share an experienced defense are a problem. The highest scorer for Hard to Folk, Benjamin Yoko, just 4 goals. Jodi Wanum Kaleba Mankwa, a central defender, and 3 goals. Eti Babiani Ghost Stars a boasting of a striker who 8 goals in the shape of a bed Neguteteno. On the other hand, Hard to Folk the and that is another problem. But Hard to Folk gradually AI is secured and not almost feel secured Kaleba Mankwa actually whenever he's available he brings that kind of stability. Central defense being here Kunadu Yadom for the last 2 or 3 games on the Kaleba Mankwa Bono on also so he's gotten a very good partner in the shape of a Kaleba Mankwa. I've always said say no matter the individual quality there are certain positions in football the question you understand the neighbor. It is a more that understanding between the two of you. 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. More yes, I understand now. There is no way say individually, so quality debate Juma, no more achieve the kind of results Amunya, Coach Okuluso is in full fledged. If you say after the exit of Slavko Matic, Yadia Jumanman on the first game was the biggest game on the Ghanaian Premier League calendar. Otuminya win at the Accra Sports Stadium. And Fahoni baby, Okwakobobium, Okoshia baby, any Gold Stars. Last season has to focus Shano baby. This season has to focus Shano one kind. It's that kind of confidence, a lot of the players are available. And to pair that mindset also, they also feel some way right into this particular game to give that kind of competition against that of a baby. And it's a difficult game because almost to hear results, almost feel some 3 points now, baby any for no, and they almost that fourth, almost the top 4, and they really need that this particular season. But chairman, per Bonam who has to football against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. If only to me about our football being against baby any Gold Stars there, I don't see how to focus losing. Baby any be going into the game, ebe per results 3 points on only bow home. It's the obey or the Benya results, but I had to focus about the game against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Omobo Bechem, the said Omobo Kotoko, the end dia. It is a double chance for that of Accra to focus, chairman.
Okay, into double chance Accra to forgive us here. Now, matches are cancelled, but the Metadi Kaka at 3 p.m. We'll be live on Star Times. Baby any Gold Stars versus Accra Hearts of Folk. Oh, baby any Echna. Accra Good Olympics next summer text. Sagi Nzuba live. Accra Stadium. Mediana Stars ni Mediama. On an Ajman Bedu Park. RTU Tamale City. Kodoku Royals on Sunny Bichim. And the Kerala United in Shatterman. And a Bichim Brekum Chelsea. Sorry. Brekum Chelsea. And so any Legon City. In fact, it started at Bichim Chelsea. It's for Bekaya. But say they become Chelsea. To become Chelsea in Sunny Legon cities. On Monday, Accra Lions need dreams about Accra Stadium to weigh the league fixtures as they are. Okay, Yadisia, Doc. Yeah, sorry, sir.
It's been a good discussion.
Yes. But blast and sober.
Go Debbie. My papa cho ofia unti say o say me manantu mu ye
ba so be ko ready
it depends me hwe mood no
o mood na let's go hey na me okay the last time me nim the ntia me Ghana ni if I'm canvassing for support for my national team na nipa ni be friend me ma me warning no organize you
I know me no the same boat me no
but gakaka be okay time for this year yeah sorry so near Jemu and am DJ Ambitious no so ba no dey ho nyina no and so Eddie Abre we did the bright can come do to Dr. Kofi Asafo County big inka Christian Eddie say and company about the sports writer and also joining Ejari on Facebook Live Bright Bestmark also supported Jacob Achusebe and Darling Pornum for production into and the AC. Okay.